What I got to do tonight is, first thing I got to do is clean up the back of my car right here. I got a little bit of work to do, but hopefully it's not a whole lot. Basically, you see this bell housing here? This is the Suffix D bell housing. Originally, I was going to stick it on this Series 3 transmission, but as luck would have it, I don't need to do that right away. I am going to do it eventually, but yeah, I've got the parts coming for that. It's going to be a week or two, but here's the greatest part of it. Look what I've got here. That is actually, and if you're sharp-eyed, you'll see the little cutout right there. This is actually another Suffix A transmission. I couldn't actually, well, I didn't clean off the suffix all that well to see if it was indeed a Suffix A, but way to tell is Suffix A's. I don't know if B's had them, but early Suffix A's. This little hole here, that's not actually a hole. Dipstick used to go there to check the transmission level. These later Suffix A's have a level plug on the side. The way to tell it's not a Suffix B box is it's got the smaller lay shaft in the transfer box. So this is actually a direct replacement for the box that's in my motor right now. And here's the greatest part. Well, if I select a gear, with some difficulty, it turns. So what I'm going to do is pull it out of here, slap it in the back of my car, clean it up a wee bit, and then hopefully, with all going well, get it stabbed in this hole here tonight. And then tomorrow, during the day, I can put all the seats back in and have my car ready and driving again. Or more likely, well, there's a good possibility I might be fiddling with handbrake stuff. But, yeah. This was awesome. So, how did I find another Suffix A gearbox, man? So, a guy I know, like, half an hour away from me, met him because he was actually selling a Series 1 on eBay, and I had a look at the location. I'm like, dude, that's my backyard, man. Went up and talked to him, went up there, took a look at the vehicle. Unfortunately, it was priced out of my range already. But got to know him, and I knew he dealt with Defender stuff and a lot of Range Rover Classic. But I was posting about all my problems, and at one point he saw it and was like, dude, I got a box, man. Yeah, I get up there, and this is what's sitting there. I may even actually be getting another gearbox from him. But we don't know what suffix that gearbox is, and it'll also be missing, pardon me walking through the light, it'll also be missing the rear cover here. Speaking of the rear cover, that's another way to tell these early gearboxes apart, is these are cast aluminum. The later ones, like over here, where is it, are cast iron. So why is it missing the rear thing? It's actually got a forward-facing PTO that he's going to steal, I think, for the Series 1. Not sure if it's that one that's going on or the Series 3. But he's also got a capstan winch, which is something I'm trying to get a hold of, too. Well, enough prattling on. I'm going to haul this thing from here over into the back of my car after I get that cleaned out. And then, give it a wire wheel. Clean up. There was a bit of oil in there, so I need to check that it's motor oil in the bell housing and not gear oil leaking from the box. But beyond that, I'll be good to go. Did a little bit of cleaning up. You can see the serial number there. It's actually not that far off from my original gearbox. My original one being a 151104 something. So yeah, not too far. So I'm guessing this might actually be a 61, later 61. Mine being a late 60, early 61, really not sure. Also want to show you that this one too has the yellow paint on that lug. I'm guessing that might just denote that that's where the grounding strap goes. I really don't know. That's also engine oil. I could smell the difference between that and the gearbox oil. Everything looks nice and clean inside, from what I can see through the caps. And yeah, shifts, well, I can do that by hand. Well, starting to get a little colder now, but can still shift it by hand relatively easy. Both springs are on the reverse gate, which means that it's nice and stiff also, like mine wasn't. Does four-wheel drive. Both high and low range. It is getting colder out here. Wow, that's a lot stiffer than it was earlier. Anyways, it's not too late yet. Got my work lights blazing way up there. Heater going full blast. Oh, this thing is so nice. Gotta turn it just a touch. Oop. Wiggled the ball out by accident. They've got little tip switches, and if I kick it wrong, they go off. But oh, that thing is nice. Got that as an early gift or a Christmas present. Same with the work lights. So nice to work with. It's not too late yet, so I'm going to fire up the angle grinder with the wire wheel on it. Clean this thing up real nice before I stick it in the car. And hopefully I'll stuff it in there tonight. Well, cleaned it up a bit. And I also found another crack in the bell housing. See, that hole down there I knew about. A guy I bought this thing from said might have been like a prop shaft let go or a U-joint and that cracked it. Don't know. Doesn't really matter. But also a nice thing up there. And I also found that apparently, let's see if I can get you some light. There we go. Apparently the starter was rubbing in there. But you know what I'm thinking about doing is, since I know this will plug and play, it'll go in easy. I'm just going to drop this thing right in the car. I am going to clean up the splines a bit, but basically just drop it in the car, get her back on the road, take the trip up to New York and back, and then basically work on the Series 3 box. Well, get my original Suffix A box put together. But if in the meantime, all the parts come in for the 3 box, put the 3 box together, stick that in there. That way Serena's got it easier learning how to drive stick without having to deal with double declutching. And then after that, get my original box rebuilt and back in the car. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to drop this in the car as is, not going to worry about those. I do have the Alumi-Weld sticks, but I need to, properly clean this, get some good degreasant and everything, and that's probably going to be a bell housing off job to do. So otherwise, it looks like it's in great shape. I mean, it selects all the gears and they all work, so it definitely doesn't have a broke lay shaft. So all right, from here I'm going to clean up the splines a bit. There's a bit of oil in them. I'm guessing that the motor that this was on before had a pretty bad rear main seal, so it's all leaky. Just clean that up a little bit, and then try and stuff it in the car. Alright, well, got the strap on there. I did get those mounts off the old motor. Apparently I don't have new ones. I thought I did, but did I say motor? I meant to say gearbox. Got the mounts off the gearbox. I thought I had new ones, but apparently I don't, so I'm just going to reuse those for the time being and order new ones in when I get the original gearbox back in again. Got the strap on the gearbox. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plop it on this cart and then use a pry bar and wheel it around over to where I got the engine hoist, and hoist her up and plop her in. Then hopefully I'll get her to slide together tonight, and then basically bolt her all in tomorrow and be done with this. Well, putting it down on the ground, yeah, you can do it with one person. I just did. I'd hate to pick it up from there, though. Well, I've done it before, but you got to do it incrementally. That is about the limit for about how much I can pick up, so that's probably about 200 pounds right there, if I had to guess. Alright, well, gonna wheel it over and cherry pick her right up. At least I hope the cherry picker's working. At least I hope the engine hoist is working. I actually inquired on Facebook if anyone could date this transmission, and my hunch was right. It is a 61 Series 2 Suffix A box. So, it's a direct replacement for the one that was in here originally, the original box. Well, unless the original box, the one that was in there was a replacement like this. There we go. Ooh, that bar's cold. It's probably like 17 degrees out here right now, I think. That's what the thermometer was saying. Oh. You know, I hear people bashing the idea that you put the gearbox in from the top a whole lot. Everyone's like, whoever at Rover thought that pulling it out through the interior was a good idea was an idiot. But I'll be honest, this sure as hell beats crawling around on my stomach trying to bench press this 200-pound beast. I'm guessing it's 200 pounds. No actual idea. It's literally right at the limit of what I can lift. Up she comes. I do have the motor mounts, transmission mounts off. I found it helped clear the handbrake and the exhaust. When pulling it out, they were catching up, so. Whee! Spinny transmission. So I'm hoping that this will help it clear going in. Sweet! Oh, that went in like butter. Now it's just a matter of getting the thing in the right spot. Doing this with the seat box out is way nicer. You know, you're supposed to be able to replace the clutch without taking the seat out. I don't know. It doesn't seem physically possible to me. Oh, well, I'm not sure what time it is right now, but just got her to slide in. So the trick was basically, well, had to do something dangerous. Yeah, that's where the bolt's supposed to go. Don't do that. But, like I said, that's only 200 pounds or so. And this can carry like 500 right there, so that's double. Sketchy, but you got the job done. Basically what I did was I hiked this up until it slid in, and I got the 2 feet. The one that has to be so low to clear underneath the exhaust. The other one has to be so high to clear above the handbrake little arm thing. So I got that kind of in that area. Got it slid in through the pressure plate. And then it was just a matter of getting the nose into the pilot bearing, pilot bushing. So basically what I did is I've got another jack underneath the pan, and I just jacked up the back of the pan and the motor until the bolts were about even on top and bottom, and then it was just like a little bit of a twist and it just slid right on it. It's a beautiful thing, just smooth as butter. Shunk. It's not all the way in yet, but once I get all the bolts on, it'll go home. So I guess I'm going to call that a night, because I do want to clean off those bolts and lube them up good for when they go on. That way they go on nice and smooth. Glad I got this done. I've still got to put the, whatchamacallit, I still got to put the mounting rubbers in there, which ought to be interesting, seeing as clearance is not exactly the best on either side, but definitely helped put this thing together. So with that, I'm going to call it a night, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Just wanted to say that, well, start out with the rain we had yesterday is turned into ice and snow, and I got to finish this up. I also want to say I'm probably not going to film a whole lot more because, of course, my computer, the fan crapped out on it, so it overheats. Took that into the shop, and it'll be done like next Tuesday. But in the meantime, my phone storage is full, and I have no way to get anything off of it. So my memory is at a premium. I'm probably going to take pictures, and if I end up putting together a collage, I will. Got the gear lever on there. Ooh, then the spring action on reverse is quite better than what just one spring on my transmission was left with. So goes through all the gears. It actually does rotate, but still got to hook up the prop shafts. Got to take the front one out and see about replacing the U-joint with the broken grease fitting. And yeah, go from there. Something I'm going to do while I've got the prop shaft out, I mean, I had half the bolts off anyway, so I figure I might as well take it all out and do it, is on this one side you can see there's a little spring here. Well, that's actually supposed to be part of the check valve for the grease nipple that used to stick out there. Actually, what I found interesting was this side, I cannot find any evidence of any grease nipple ever. So, since I know that one's broken, and actually, if I wiggle this, like there, let me see. There's no wiggle in that one. Whereas this one, let's see. I don't know if you can hear that. It does have a little bit of wiggle. Unfortunately, I also found that my rear prop shaft does have a little wiggle too. But I don't have another U-joint. I've only got this one. I bought it from Bearmock. It was like $3. And I didn't know if it was the right one for my prop shaft, so I went ahead and bought one to try out, and if it didn't work, I just you know, sell it on for $5, you know. It was with my order already, but it looks like this is going to be the right one. They seem to fit in the holes right, so I don't know if it's going to be, is it going to be too long? So if it's too long, might be too long. I'm going to have to measure that. That could be inconvenient. Well, if it's too long, well, I guess I'm not replacing that U-joint. And I'm just ignoring it. But otherwise, the one gator, this is the front prop shaft. Apparently they didn't always have gators on the fronts, but mine did, so I'm going to replace it. Another Bearmock piece. You know, it was like, what, $2-3. So I got it anyways. What you got to do is there's a little cap here, and that's threaded on, and that's what keeps the splines from sliding out at full extension. Now you pull that off, it'll slide apart, and if you look, there's actually an arrow on here somewhere, and then there's another arrow on this side that you line the two up and the splines are together right way, the prop shaft will balance and all will be well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and be done, and well, I'll measure up and see about replacing that U-joint. Well, it's 12:30 in the morning right now. God, I love these lights, and those heaters make it so nice. It's currently about 8 degrees out, 9, 7, depending on where you look. And it's lightly snowing. But I think I've tightened the last of the bolts that I need. Right, drop my glove. But I think I tightened the last of the bolts that I need. So I'm going to see what I can do. I don't have high hopes for this thing starting. Battery is likely flat from being so cold for so long, but it's not going to stop me from trying. You can see a hole in the side of the bell housing. I think a clutch flew apart. Oy. Yeah, neutral. That extra spring on reverse is really nice. Give it all of the choke. I heard something. Well, I'm going to try starting it on the handle and see if I get anywhere. Give her all the choke. I'm not going to film that though.